The University of Canberra and the Australian National University have come up with this plan to bring a number of their international students back to Australia. So under the proposal that's been put forward, up to 350 students would be required to make their own way to what's been called a central hub. That's likely to be Singapore, where a chartered plane will be waiting to fly them direct to Canberra. The cost of that flight will be covered for by students, and then they will be required to go into hotel quarantine for 2 weeks. Like any Australian coming back here from overseas, they'll be tested for coronavirus at the beginning and end to make sure that they are healthy and ready to join our community once again. Now, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Canberra says that this pilot program they expect to be the first in Australia, and if successful, it should create a path forward for a number of other universities to follow, and so we could see hundreds, if not thousands, of international students back here by the end of the year.
We need a trial for Australia to build that confidence. So it's one city and one state and one flight and 350 students in a place that's already done this through the repatriation context. So it makes sense to do this as a way of working out what are the right things to do, protocols to put in place, and to ensure both the safety of the students but also of our community at large.
And so, Steph, how will the universities choose who gets a seat on the plane?
Yeah, well, Joe, as I mentioned, 350 seats, so that obviously doesn't cover all of the international students that both these unis have. So both the University of Canberra and the ANU will be speaking with their international students and looking at those that are close to finishing their degree, or also those that have a practical component to their degree that can't be done online. So, for example, they need to be in a lab or they need to do some sort of practical outdoor work. So they, in the end, will get priority. Now, as you're aware, just recently, Beijing did issue a notice urging its students to reconsider studying in Australia. They were saying that it wasn't safe to come here, basing that on an increase in racial attacks. Now, for the first time, we've heard from the ANU's Vice-Chancellor about this warning issued by China. He's very confident that there should be Chinese students on this first plane out to Australia, despite the warning issued.
I certainly hope we do. Our students in China want to get back to campus as much as any of our students do. This is an incredibly safe place, as I think we all know here. But in addition to geopolitics, we have a fresh outbreak of COVID-19 in Beijing that has closed their airport. So I think we just have to be alert to things that are beyond my control. Can I say our students are very savvy and they have very elaborate communication networks themselves. They know exactly what's going on.
And so, Steph, are the ACT and federal governments on board with this?
Well, the ACT government today has given this plan the tick of approval. So that's the first step in this process. The unis are hoping that this plane can fly into Australia at the end of next month. So that final approval does need to come from the Commonwealth. The Federal Education Minister, Dan Tehan, says there's two boxes essentially that need to be ticked. The first is that on-campus classes are available to domestic students. So getting students back into lectures, theatre halls, the like. The universities here say that is what they're planning for. That is their plan to have on-campus learning available from next semester. So essentially that box is ticked. The next one as well is that the internal borders for domestic travel are open. Here in the ACT, anyone can travel here whenever they're welcome. Then in South Australia, they're also looking at a similar pilot, and they've indicated that they'll open all of their internal borders by the 20th of July. So we could potentially even see two planes, one to South Australia and one to the ACT, either by the end of next month or early August. But as I mentioned, it is in the end up to the federal government.
Okay, Stephanie Boris reporting there from Canberra.